Stone Mountain used to be the headquarters of the Ku Klux Klan. And they would have their ceremonies right here in Stone Mountain. The United States government supported the Ku Klux Klan over people who just wanted to vote. The United States government supported the people who wanted to kill people in foreign lands over their own children who just wanted peace. So that's our government. Now, you're not going to get that from very many people. But as a Black American, I understand the United States government never lived up to its promise and has seldom lived up to its word. So what I don't understand is why other countries around the world would want to follow this government. Why did Canada give up its reputation for being a wonderful country with wonderful programs around the world to being a country that was in the hip pocket of the United States, doing all of the dirty work, like kidnapping President Aristide in Haiti? Why would Canada become a party to that? Why would Canada become a party to sending its troops over into Afghanistan so that they could be killed in friendly fire? And of course, the people of Spain, they were smart enough to figure it out. And they got rid of the Aznar government. Unfortunately, these malevolent forces have control over the most powerful military on the planet. So there are so many findings in the Church Committee report that I think are pertinent to today that I would recommend that people who look at this film go back and go online and just put COINTELPRO inside their search engine, and then the papers will come up. There's also a book that was written by Ward Churchill by the name The COINTELPRO Papers, and it has those papers in it. In those papers, you will see that the United States government broke into people's homes. It illegally set people up for on false charges. That was one way. The effort was to quash dissent. And so how do you do that? You target individuals, you discredit them. In fact, you misdirect, you discredit, and you otherwise neutralize them and their leadership. These are the words that the FBI used in the founding document of its COINTELPRO against Black organizations. Misdirect, discredit, or otherwise neutralize. Now, what did the misdirection include? The number 2 person at the FBI was charged with finding a Black person who could become the leader of Black people, but who would be selected by them. And that would be instead of the leadership that had been selected by Black people, which was like Dr. King, Malcolm X. These people, members of the Black Panther Party, this was leadership that arose from the struggles of Black people. And they wanted to misdirect the Black liberation movement, the struggle for civil rights and human rights and dignity. They wanted to misdirect that by inserting a leadership that was loyal to them. That was directed by the number 2 at the FBI. This is exactly what the United States was doing in Congo and Indonesia and uh, Chile, Argentina. This is exactly the same thing. So the United States did abroad, honed its skills, and then brought those techniques home. And in fact, that was one of the findings of the church committee. But that's just the misdirection part. What about neutralizing? People were killed. People were killed as a result of COINTELPRO. They have access to tremendous resources, so they can sway elections. They can encourage people to be quiet. They can encourage people to go along. Or at worst, they can put their own people into government positions. And so that's what we've had. I think Europe has been so particularly plagued. But I also believe that Europe has the opportunity to liberate itself. And through its self-liberation can help to liberate the rest of us. And of course, that doesn't mean that we in the United States don't have our own role to play. We do. And I think people are waking up because we just had the situation in Ferguson, and the left political spectrum and the right political spectrum are beginning to understand that it's not about left and right anymore. It's about wrong in our name and what we're willing to do to stop it. And so militarization of the police has become a very big issue in the United States. That's good, because really one of the aspects of the ending of the Vietnam War was when soldiers said, "Sir, no, sir. I will disobey that order." Soldiers did that. And now we have an organization in the United States called Oath Keepers. And these are members of the National Guard, the U.S. military, and local law enforcement. And they take an oath. It's a little off organization. And they take an oath and they say that under certain circumstances, they too will say, "Sir, no, sir." Now, we have real issues here of race in the United States. And the hardest thing to overcome in the U.S. is the equal application of certain values. If it happens to white people, if it happens to black people, the response needs to be the same. And we're beginning to see that now with what happened in Ferguson. Ferguson wasn't the first time I've seen these these soldiers. I was a part of the protest in Denver in 2008 at the Democratic National Convention. I was outside while they were inside. And the Denver police, well, they were joined by police from all over the region. And they looked like Star Wars, really, to be honest. And they were against us. We're just citizens. We do not like the pro-war policies of the Democratic Party, and we were there to say we want peace. And we were greeted by SWAT people who were treating us as if we were the enemy, as if we had no civil rights, no civil liberties to express our desire for peace. Now, we're peaceful people, and that's not the way to respond to us, but it happened. And when the police in the United States killed this young black man, I was gratified to see some members of the Oath Keepers organization in Ferguson, Missouri. Because what that tells me is that the deepest ravine in the United States body politic is that separates black people from white folk. And it's being bridged because of the excesses of local law enforcement, militarized law enforcement, trained by Israelis who understand very well. We see on television every day how they treat Palestinians. And then when those local law enforcement come back to the United States, we are the Palestinians.
Sort of leads me on to Building 7, because I mean, what would you like to say about building? So imagine again, I'm a policeman. What should a policeman make of the collapse of Building 7?
Well, a policeman of all people should have their investigator's cap on at all times. And just because the government says it, or just because it's even your boss, doesn't mean that it's right. And I have evidence, because I have the COINTELPRO papers where policemen were ordered to break into people's houses. Policemen were ordered to set people up on false charges. Policemen were ordered to testify untruthfully in courtrooms in the U.S. So I have evidence for what people can be ordered to do. And as a policeman, I think the best policeman was Mike Rupert, because Mike Rupert said, I'm going to put my policeman's cap on, my detective cap, and see what happened. And he wrote the definitive book, Crossing the Rubicon. So all one need do is don't hear those people who have an explanation. Only look for the facts as if you are engaged in your own murder investigation.
What would you say, real quickly, I mean, what would you say to a young soldier? Or
a soldier?
Yeah, a British soldier, if you can imagine. I'm a young British soldier. It's a bit difficult, but there you go.
Sir, no, sir. Sir, no, sir. It's about time for British soldier. Well, really, all of the NATO country soldiers, it's time for them to say, we are not going to kill anybody anymore. We joined the military. Most of the soldiers in the United States joined the military so they could go to college. They didn't join the military because they want to go off strange lands killing people. And so I would say to the soldiers, don't kill anybody. Make it your vow that you're not going to kill anybody, even directly or remotely. Stop the killing.